I've had a few requests to make a bit of a video on this, my Poor People R1 here. So it's a MT-10 underneath, that's what it was, as you can tell by the rear and the gas tank. So underneath these bikes are pretty much the exact same as an R1. The engine's a little different, the head's different, the cams are different. These use steel connecting rods instead of titanium connecting rods in the engine, but either way, it's a detuned R1 underneath. These tuned, you might make 180 max on a good day. And I think an R1 stock's around 197 stock, right around there. But so you're gonna, doesn't have the balls of an R1, but still has that cross-plane sound. It still sounds the same, just doesn't. I think it revs, what, 1500 RPMs lower than the R1, something like that. But it's, you can knock a good 10 grand off the price of an R1 and get one of these and just do this if it's something you're into. So the reason why I did it is it's kind of a more comfortable R1 because your rear sets in an R1. This peg is going to be about here because this is up. And yeah, so just with, you could put those on your R1 and have a more comfortable R1 if you want, but I don't need to explain why I did it. I'm just explaining what I've done to do it. So up in here, we've got stock MT cluster. Pretty easy. It just bolts on in. Over here, you got your 12 volt from the MT, because the R1 doesn't have that. And my R1 has cruise control, so haha. So on the front, we've got these lights. You'll need to buy those. And then you've got your lower lights. They are different. On the R1, the actual lights are the same, but there's an actual under piece that they all bolt into, which is different. So you have to get that. This little duct here, it's like your mainstay for the lights. It's underneath, it holds everything, and then your actual mainstay, it's a harder plastic, it bolts to it as well. See, I don't have my mirror mounts in there right now. So there's two stays up here that you'll need to get, and then there's an air duct in here that all of that bolts to, and it bolts onto the frame down in there. Can't really see it, sorry, I'm not very good at taking videos and whatnot, but clip-ons, because obviously your MT bars will bolt on here, and they're up about here. Quite the difference versus the clip-ons. Trying to think of what else. The fairing kit, obviously, this is just a cheap one. You could get a good one if you want. I like to change that sticker so it just says R1, but that's what I got. It was pretty cheap, so. This piece, it comes with it. It's what holds your ECU in here, just like the MT has. I'm actually missing a piece of plastic that goes here to cover these wires. I need to get that. Your tank, you'll need to trim this off because it comes down to about here normally, because there's an air duct or an imitation air duct that goes to about here on the MT, so you have to cut that off and remove it. I'm working on getting a 3D printed and scanned piece that will bolt on here just to kind of fill it in and make it look a little more proper. I'm trying to think of what else here. Everything just kind of bolts together just like OEM. I mean, it's like I say, it's the same bike underneath, you just gotta get the pieces. Been asked a few times if you can put the color dash in this one from the R1. You can and you can't. So the R1 actually has the, the 6-axis IMU. So it measures the roll of the bike and the pitch and all that. So all of that is different on these unless you get the Gen 2 MT. This is a Gen 1. So it has the old dash, but you can get a flip kit for this LCD screen. So it will actually take it and invert the colors. A little easier to look at. This one doesn't have it obviously, but I'll make a video on that when I do eventually get it. Next up for this bike anyway is going to be the tail. I'd like to get the R1 tail for it. It looks pretty sweet. The fairing kit, it came with a few extra pieces. So I've got the R1 tank piece and an extra fender and Pardon my mess here. This is the R1 tail. So you will need the subframe if you're going to do the tail swap. It's pretty popular on the MTs to do the tail. So you'll need the subframe and the light and the plastics and the seat and the gas tank. If you're going to do the full swap, you can leave the MT gas tank and have the R1 tail, but you will need to extend the R1 seat a few inches, I think is what I've read. But like I say, I'm going to do the whole thing, the gas tank and the tail. So I will have a video on that. It's currently winter outside in Canada here. It's like a foot of snow on the ground, so I can't really do any more videos outside of the bike, but it's kind of a quick little rundown here. If you have any questions, drop a comment, do what you want there, but you know, it's my poor people R1. I know a lot of people ask, why the hell would you buy an MT instead of an R1? But like I say, here an R1's like 25 grand. I paid 10 grand for this bike, so it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Sure, it's down on power, but I mean, do you really need 200 horse on the street? I know I don't. I'd be in jail, so yeah, it is what it is. It's my bike, so I'm gonna have fun with it. Have a good one.